a warm welcome on a Monday morning. So, I welcome all of you for the session of Introduction to Patanjali Yoga Sutra for Yogic Life by Yogacharya Sri Dr. Nagaraja Rao MK. This 3-day session is organized by Spiritual Solutions Center in association with Rotary Bangalore Global Yoga and Yoga University of Americas. Please note that this is a pre-conference to the upcoming Global Yoga Summit, which will be held in December 2023. So, some do's and don'ts. Please turn your video on. We would love to see you as we interact virtually. This will be a 1-hour session, so kindly be seated in a comfortable position. Have a water bottle, glass of water nearby you so that you don't have to move around. Have a notebook to make your notes. And if at all you have any questions, please put it on the chat. All of you will be muted, and we will have one of our volunteers, Suvardhanji, consolidate many of your questions. This session will be primarily in English and in Kannada wherever possible. And a final disclaimer, this meeting will be recorded for quality and training purposes, quality of our lives and training for the entire humanity for this beautiful journey called as life. So, friends, the principles of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. Patanjali Yoga Sutras are not just mystic, but highly divine wisdom. And to equip all of us to comprehend this confidential knowledge, it's important to start with a prayer meditation. I request Dr. Vishwanath Guruji to lead us with this Siddhata Dhyana and prayer meditation. Thank you.
Namaste to all. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Let us begin prayer meditation. Sit comfortably. Back erect. Wear Chin Mudra or Gnana Mudra. Make sure you are very comfortable. Look around. Feel your place. And slowly feel your place where you are sitting. Then slowly close your eyes. Close your eyes and again observe your body. Observe your whole body. Feel your body from top to toes, head to toes. And slowly bring your awareness on your breathing. Focus on inhalation and exhalation. Focus. Relax and focus. Once you start focusing, within few seconds, your breathing will come to normal. Experience that. Experience it. समाधानविरली शांत वायुसराटवನ್ನ ಗಮನಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ. Now connect to deep breathing. ಆಳವಾದ ಉಸಿರಾಟವನ್ನ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Deep breathing. Deep breathing. Now slowly observe your heart center, Hridaya Kendra. Connect to deep breathing. Observe your heart center and do a deep breathing. ಹೃದಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರವನ್ನು ಗಮನಿಸ್ತಾ ಆಳವಾದ ಉಸಿರಾಟವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ. Now let us begin Omkara chanting. Take a deep breath. Om. Relax. Observe your heart center. Again, take a deep breath. Om. Relax. Deep breath. Om. Relax totally. Relax totally. Now, let us connect to universal energy, Brahmanda Shakti, Vishwa Shakti. Let us take blessings. Touch your right hand on your chest, on your heart center. Feel yourself. Let us chant Asatoma. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear universal energy, lead us from unreal to reality. Guide us from ignorance to wisdom. Help us to come out of these bondages of life. Bless us, bless us. Feel it. Imagine you are receiving blessing energy from the cosmos, from the universal energy. You are receiving it as a white light. It's flowing through you, flowing around you, flowing in your place, flowing everywhere. Experience it. Now connect to your master. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಷ್ಟ ಗುರುಗಳನ್ನ ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ. Surrender to your master, Guru who is going to guide us, Guru who is going to lead our life, who is blessing us with wisdom. Now slowly come to Namaskar Mudra. Guru Stuti. Let us surrender to Guru. Feel the lotus feet of your master, your Guru. Surrender. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Let us surrender. Guruvina Padarvindagalike Namana. Relax your hands. Now, with the Guru's blessings, set your sankalpa. Sankalpa ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. I am here to receive the wisdom of yoga. I am here to experience it. I am here to understand. Let this time be completely dedicated for my transformation, for my uplifting, for my understanding of life, yogic life. Set your sankalpa and be in silence for a few seconds. deep breathing. Once again, pay gratitude to Masters, Universal Energy. Slowly take a deep breath and breathe out. Slowly rub your palms. Happily come out of dhyana. Slowly rub your face and slowly come out of preparation meditation. Once again, namaste to all. Welcome to this introduction to Patanjali Yoga Sutras for Yogic Life. And this is a pre-conference to Global Yoga Summit 2023. We have our beloved Guruji, Dr. Yogi Devraj Guruji here. So let us listen to him for the idea of Yoga Summit. And afterwards, by 5:18, Yogacharya Sri Dr. Nagaraja Rao MK will start the session program. And this is a wonderful opportunity for each one of us. Kindly make use of it. And let's begin. Let us welcome our Guruji, Dr. Devraj Guruji. I request him to address the idea and the clarity about Yoga, Global Yoga Summit. Dhanyavad.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vishwanath Guruji, for organizing this beautiful program as a pre-conference for Rotary, Bangalore, Global Yoga, and Yoga University of the Americas, and Swami Vivekananda Yoga Research and Holistic Health Trust. Friends, Rotary Bangalore Global Yoga started 4 years back as a cause-based club in the whole world. It is the first cause-based club to promote yoga for the health, happiness, and the global peace, which is the focus area in Rotary. Last year, when we organized, there were around 1,500, 1,700 people attended and enjoyed the facilities given in Global Yoga Summit. Then there was a great interest shown by a lot of people that we had to repeat it again here in Bangalore. So we started our preparations. And this year, we're taking the theme as the mental health, yoga for mental health, which is very much required in the present day. There is also a theme of Rotary this year. And we are really fortunate to have Dr. Vishwanath Guruji as a chief, lead, the mentor, the Spiritual Solution Center, who are already connected to us for a long time, doing a lot of research in the area of mind or the mental health. They are taking the lead in providing the pathway for this year's Global Yoga Summit. Guruji, thank you so much. And accordingly, the object of pre-conference is to introduce people to the pathway where they can reach Global Yoga Summit with a proper perspective of seeing, visualizing, understanding, cooperating with the theme of the conference itself. So, another very interesting thing here is they have invited Dr. Yogacharya MK Nagaraja Rao ji, who is our chairman of the Academic Council in Yoga University of the Americas, who is a practitioner of yoga for the last 45 years, or much more than that. So we need right people to explain about the concepts of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, because nowadays that's one of the things where yoga is misunderstood in many parts of the world, that it's only asanas. Whereas The definition of yoga given by Patanjali Maharshi is totally different. As all of you know, Chitta Vritti Nirodha Yoga, where the word Chitta is the mind is mentioned, not the body. Friends, I thank Dr. MK Nagaraja Rao for giving us beautiful insight in how mind and Patanjali Yoga Sutra takes us ahead. And finally, I welcome you all for getting up early and be ready to listen to the great masters. With these few words, I would like to stop here and welcome you all, friends from Spiritual Solution Center, Nagaraja Rao and all of you for this great morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Yogi Devraj for addressing our audience and inspiring us, re-emphasizing the importance of yoga. So now, dear team, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker, Yogacharya Dr. Nagaraj Guruji. I consider myself fortunate to introduce him. ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಸದ್ದಿಲ್ಲದ ಸಾಧನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. I was really, impressed looking at his profile. Dr. Nagaraja Rao MK. He is the chairman, Academic Council, Yoga Universities of the Americas in India. Dr. Nagaraja Rao has more than 3 decades of yogic experience. He is a devoted yoga practitioner, a certified yoga teacher who belongs to Adi Shankaracharya's School of Philosophy. Dr. Nagaraja Rao has learned yoga and philosophy in the Vedic Gurukula system from his childhood under the guidance of his yogi father. After having obtained his master's degree in naturopathy and yoga at Madras University, he continued his practice in the Himalayas. Enlightened Himalayan masters introduced him to the yoga tradition, which is based on the classical texts and approaches such as Veda, Vedanta, Indian philosophical thoughts in the Gurukula system, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Hatha Pradipika, and Geranda Samhita. He has been teaching yoga from his family tradition and has been conducting programs on Hatha Yoga, Vedanta, Kundalini Yoga, and is a trainer on personal development too. Dr. Nagaraja Rao has also authored books such as Yoga Darshana Sampada, a practical manual for beginners, and resource books for yoga teachers. Please welcome Dr. Nagaraja Rao. Nagaraja Rao, I request you to please take over the session. Thank you.
Yogena yogo gnatavyo yogo yogat pravartate yo pramattastu yogena Sayoge ramate chiram Om Shanti 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 Dear aspirants, Dr. Yogi Devraj Guruji, Dr. Vishwanath Guruji, and all aspirants of yoga, the members and the sadhakas of the Spiritual Solution Center. An opportunity to know comes always, but very rarely we react for that. It is at our doors and always knocking our doors to open and receive an opportunity. But we realize to open the door very rarely, so knowledge comes very rarely. It is a natural course for all of us to learn and to learn and to learn and to have the experiences of the learning and putting it into our daily life, the activities of the daily life. Yoga is not a rare element. It is an element within us. We always make our discoveries at the outer world in reaching and catching some substance which is beyond the reach of our physical body, our mental personality, and so on. It is so common for the human being to forget the spirit which is lying inside of him. We have always learned and also tried to catch and reach the external objects. But yoga takes a special journey for you to discover the things which are so beautiful than any other object in the world, to reach it, which is in the core of your personality. Yogaschittavritti nirodha. You have all heard of this statement by Patanjali, a second statement in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is bringing a control over the different thought waves of the human being. If I use the word control, it may not properly suit here. Rather, I say it is the management of different manifestations of the mind. You can say this is the control, this is the restraint, this is the management, or this is the understanding. This is not being blended with the thought waves, and so on. And why, after all, this concept of yoga has come to us? Has this come to us only through Patanjali? Was there earlier to him? The answer is yes. As the civilization has begun on this earth, and the civilization, a beautiful civilization, has begun on the land of Bharat, the concept of yoga has begun. It was in the time of Rama. It was in the time of Krishna. It was in the time of various rishis, seers, sages, and yogis. The yoga has come to us. And every human being on this land of Bharat was practicing, is practicing, and will practice yoga. It need not be taught through a guru. The very culture of this land brings us the knowledge of yoga. It is not sitting in the posture of a lotus and reciting some mantra, closing my eyes, or it is doing a topsy-turvy posture and thinking something about, or it is not delivering a great lecture to the students about controlling of the mind. It is all about living a life of happiness. At any moment, if you are happy, you can always say to yourself that you are in the state of yoga. If you are not at all disturbed by anything, you can say you are in the state of yoga. It is not the asana that you are going to practice. It is not the pranayama that you are going to practice. And all such practices may turn futile when you don't attain a state of happiness. Anandadhyaiva khalvimani bhutani jayante anandena jatani jivanti anandam prayanti abhisamvishanti iti. In search of happiness, perhaps the human being has always spent his time and could not get it because he has made all his research in the external world, has forgotten always to make a discovery in the internal world of the personality of the human being. We will now have a trial to know the different spheres of the personality. In the beginning of the sutras, Patanjali has given us a sutra called Atha Yoga Anushasanam. He says, yoga is just like a statute. It is not optional. It is for you guided to be in the practices, not to have a lecture on it. It is not a Jignasa Shastra. In the Jignasa Shastra, you have got every opportunity to argue, to debate, and to see something else, to make an analogy of something else. But in yoga, it is not so. It is the Upadesha Shastra. You have got very less opportunity to discuss upon. You just listen to what Master says. You just oblige that what Master says. There is very less opportunity for you to discuss upon. You just follow the path of Guru. You just go according to the words of your Master. You practice that, you realize that, then you will understand what that yoga is. But there are so many other Shastras called the Jignasa Shastras, where there is every opportunity and the scope for the student to have questions and to get solutions or the answers for that. But in yoga, you put yourself into the practice first, then ask questions. You make an effort to do that. Involve your soul and your body and the mind and the every thing of your personality. Try to be there, try to realize that, then you will understand what that yoga is. If you are kept up yourself for practicing of the yogasanas, it's good. If you are practicing pranayama, it's good. If you are practicing walking, it's good. If you are practicing this swimming as yoga, it's good. But do that every day, on everyday basis. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. If you have kept up yourself for the practicing, it's good. That is the beginning of the yoga. Whatever that you do, it is yoga. But you have to consider that ordinary practice as a yogic practice. Yogena yogo gnatavyo, yogo yogat pravartate. If you want to know something, you have always putting an analogy to know that. If you are looking at the moon in the sky, to explain the moon, the position of the moon, you need some other supporting object. Where is the moon? And if you are thinking on the mind, can you bring any analogy to establish the existence of your mind or the soul? It's not so easy. All struggle of the human being is to know one's own self. Because we have conducted a lot of experiments to know something about the external objects. Now the core object is yourself. And now the trial is to know what that self is. Is it my arms? Is it my head? Is it my muscular body or the skeletal body that what I have been trying to look at? It is certainly not. It is my spirit, the so-called spirit, which is inside us. But yogis say, it is not merely inside of you, it's also outside of you. Tadantarasya sarvasya tad sarvasyasya bhahyatah. If you are searching inside, it will also be outside. If you are searching outside, it will also be inside. Then where should I search for? The answer is very easy. Don't make an effort to have a search because you are that. Why should you search? You just realize you are that. Tattvam asi. This is the experience this is the lesson from Vedanta. You need not make a trial of searching for it. You stop all your efforts, then that is the yoga. Yoga says, do nothing. That is yoga. We have always learned to do something, then get it. If you do something, you cannot get the state of yoga. Please don't do anything, then that is the state of yoga. How to be? How to be so? Doing nothing. At least it is my habit to move my arms. It is my habit to blink. It is my habit to breathe again and again, apparently. At least it is my habit to nod my head. Keep yourself doing nothing. A state of no action is the state of yoga. It is very easy to explain, not so easy to practice. Because my habit is to do something always. The question from a student is, so how to do yoga? No, yoga is not doing. Yoga is doing nothing. Then how to do that? Again, don't use a verb there. If you say do, it is a verb. The attainment of the ultimate state of yoga is not doing something, is being somewhere. That somewhere we have to discover now. It is not elsewhere, it is here. Such a discovery of the self is called yoga. It doesn't need any effort of you. It doesn't need any effort. So, Patanjali, the time we do not know, because in the Rishi Parampara, in the Guru Parampara of Bharat, we are not much worried about the time of Patanjali, when he was lived, in what century he lived. The historians have got the debate with themselves to consider when Patanjali lived. But we are not so worried about his time of living, because even now we believe Patanjali is now also. He's no more. We can never say that he is no more. Patanjali is with us always. The spirit of Patanjali can never go away from us. We can never be too far from the advices of Patanjali. It is always with us. Now, we will consider what was the time before Patanjali existed. It was the time of Krishna. It was the time of Rama. Rama received all yogic lessons from Vasishtha, his guru. And later, Krishna started reciting a song on yoga. And that great song, long song, is called Bhagavad Gita, because the Krishna is Bhagavan. Every chapter in Bhagavad Gita is called yoga. It's called yoga. It could be Karma Yoga, it could be Gnana Yoga, it could be Bhakti Yoga, and so on. There are 18 chapters, all chapters called yoga and yoga and yoga. And peculiarly, there is one chapter called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The repentance of Arjuna. The repentance of Arjuna is also called yoga. How? What is this? Is it not a paradox? No. Even Vishada of Arjuna is also a yoga. But if you have Vishada, it's not yoga. It is only the Vishada of Arjuna is yoga. Why? Arjuna's Vishada is not after the action. Arjuna's Vishada is before the action. That's why it's called yoga. When he was in the battlefield with Krishna, he looked at his friends on the battlefield, at his masters on the battlefield. looked at his cousins and so many other relatives. Asked Krishna, should I shoot an arrow at them? Should I kill them? They are all my kids and kins, my friends, my fathers, great-grandfathers, cousins and so on. What are you advising me to do? Should I enjoy my throne by killing all these people? He got himself to a repentance. Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam. What is this narrow state of you, Arjuna? You are in the battlefield. You are fixed here to shoot the arrow. They are merely your enemies. What are you telling about? Can you kill anybody? At the time of their death, they will surely die. The body, the so-called mundane body, will get into perished. You cannot kill them. It is your duty now, just shoot the arrow. So, the Arjuna's Vishada, the repentance, was earlier. It is before the action. That's why Arjuna Vishada is also a yoga. But an ordinary human being has been getting into the repentance after the action has happened. After doing something, I try to realize I should not have done this. This is not yoga. Arjuna got a tapa. We always get a tapa called the paschat tapa after the action is over. This is called the paschat tapa. But Arjuna got a tapa called the purva tapa. It is the purva tapa. So the purva tapa of the Arjuna is also called yoga. That's why Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the chapter in Bhagavad Gita, is also a yoga. If you are into the purva tapa, you are also just like Arjuna. You will surely get a Krishna to advise you. But most of us are focusing upon such a realizations, such a repentance after the action is over, after the event is over. This is the lesson in the Bhagavad Gita in the beginning itself. Okay, not only Rama, not only Krishna gave us the knowledge of yoga, it is all seers, all sages, all yogis of this land of Bharat gave us the very knowledge of yoga. There are several Upanishads on yoga. Of course, almost all Upanishads, one or the other way, speak on the topic of yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. There are so many statements. So the time of Rama over, time of Krishna over, time of sages and seers over, now time of we have come. Our time now has come. Are we Krishna? Are we Rama? Are we seers and sages? Proudly say yes. We are no less than any other seer or the sage of this land. We are no less than the soul of Rama or the soul of Krishna or the soul of Shankaracharya or any such great seer or sage. Because that message is in our hearts. It reflects before us. We are by the words of Rama. We are by the words of Krishna. We are by the words of our rishis. For a student of India, for a student of Bharat, it's very easy to get into the knowledge of yoga because it is in his samskara. Since we have been speaking on the topic of yoga, the word samskara comes always along with. We have to understand that. That's why in almost all shastras, it's a beginning sentence, atha yoganushasanam. Now I shall begin something. This is the common meaning, but the meaning of atha here in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, it is not I shall now, It is after gaining some knowledge. Having gained so many knowledge, so much of knowledge from different texts and different gurus, now you are entering into the knowledge of yoga. This is the meaning of the word atha, as long as the topic of yoga or the Patanjali Yoga is concerned. Patanjali Yoga is one of the darshanas. There are several other darshanas, the school of philosophy. There are main 6 schools of philosophy in Bharat. That is called the Shat Darshana. It is a Sankhya by the Kapila, Yoga by Patanjali, Nyaya by Gautama, Vaisheshika is by Kanada. And later it is the Vedanta and the Mimamsa. So these are the 6 main schools of philosophy in Bharat. Now we have taken up to study the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It's called the Darshana. It's a school of thought. So in Patanjali Yoga, it is all about practice. It is not about the preaching. That's why Anushasana, it is the direction, it is the statute. You are here to listen and to practice. There is a very less scope for debating and discussing. You first practice, then you discuss, then you question, then surely you will understand. So the second sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga means management of different modifications of the mind. Then I should now tell you something about the word chitta. In English language, you cannot get a synonym for the word chitta. We know the mind, we know the intelligence, we know the sense of ego, and so on. Mano buddhya hankara chitta ninaham. I am neither the mind, nor the intellect, nor the ahankara, the ego sense. It is one of the statement by Shankaracharya, of course. But now, in considering the word chitta, we have to understand what is meant by manas, buddhi, and ahankara. All these components called manas, buddhi, and the ahankara are in chitta. So the chitta is the core of our antahkarana. There are 2 types of karanas. One is called the antahkarana and another is called the bahya karana. The external components and the internal components. The external component could be our arms, our fingers, our feet, our head, and so on. But the antahkarana is not that. It's not accessible, it's not physical. It could be our mind, a storehouse of our emotions. It could be our intelligence or the intellect, a storehouse for the discriminations. It could be the storehouse of ego sense, ahankara, ahamasmi iti bhavana. It's all about I, establishing I and mine. This is called ahankara, and sometimes it's also called mamakara. It belongs to me. It is mine, is the mamakara. I have done this, is the ahankara. There is a small difference between mamakara and the ahankara. Of course, both are obstacles for my realization. So chitta is a special term used in the yoga philosophy to make an understand about the internal components called the antahkarana, manas, buddhi, and the ahankara. Then what this manas is? Sakaranta napumsakalingo manas shabdaha. This is the grammar. A neutral gender is assigned for the manas. It is neither feminine nor the masculine. It is a common gender. It is called the manas. Then how do you describe that? Sankalpa vikalpatmakaha manaha nischayatmika buddhihi. It is making a decision and at the same time not accepting it. This is the manas. It creates lot of sankalpas at the same time it creates vikalpas. It decides, it approves, at the same time not agreeing with that. It's all about the agreement and the disagreement at the same time. Who does this is called the manas. It has no faith on its own agreements. It slips down to the disagreement. He looks at his disagreements, tries to make an agreement again and again. It neither stays at its agreements nor stays at its disagreements. This volatile state, unstable state, is called the mind or the manas. Sankalpa vikalpatmakaha manaha. Then what that buddhi is? Buddhi is something different from this. It is a discriminatory area. Nishchayatmika buddhi. It is always firm on one statement. Because before considering something, it discriminates. Whether this explanation is right or wrong, it discriminates before accepting it. What I am looking at is right or not. If I am telling this is a red color, it should be red color. So this is how the discriminatory faculty called the buddhi works, intellect works. But apart from this, there is one more. That is called the ego, ahankara. It is neither the mind nor the intellect. It's not the manas nor the buddhi. It says, I have done this. I am responsible for this success. This belongs to me. The sense of I and the sense of me is called the ahankara. If at all there is a success out of efforts, then the ahankara claims, this is out of my ideas, this is out of my efforts, and that sense is called the ahankara. Sankalpa vikalpatmaka manaha nishayatmika buddhihi. Then how do we know whether the mind is acting now or the intellect is acting now or the ahankara is acting now? This is what the experiment we have to undertake in the practice of yoga. Who is acting now? Who is prominent now? Whether the mind or the intelligence or my ahankara. But all these are creating and accumulating thoughts again and again. There's a big heap of thoughts in me accumulated long ago, so long ago. There are so many early thoughts in me. Perhaps they have decayed and buried, but often they rise from the burial ground. They are always alive. They are not dead. Such a big stock of different thoughts in me is called the samskara. And this chitta, the entity, is the abode of all such a huge, built up, huge heap of the memories or the thoughts is called the chitta. Chitta is the storehouse of memories or the thought waves. So chitta is the stuff of the mind. You cannot give a different word for this. Chitta is chitta, manas is manas, buddhi is buddhi, ahankara is ahankara. They are all totally called antahkarana. If you can understand these few words, you will become eligible to enter into the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and it's very easy then and there onwards. Dear friends, we will discuss upon these elements in our discourse. At this juncture, I thank all the organizers, especially these spiritual solutions. And I am so happy to be with you. If you have any questions, I think you can come in. Pradeep, what should I do now? Anyway, for the today's sake, I am concluding. We will begin with the topics of Patanjali Yoga Sutra in our next session. Thank you. Please take time. because I am concluding it 5 minutes early, as I am heard.
You could take a little bit more time. We have planned it adequately. Suvardhanji, any questions from our audience? Maybe you can. We have some time for 1 or 2 questions. Suvardhanji.
Okay. Let me check.
There are 2 types of occasions. If there are questions, I can understand you have understood something. If there are no questions, I can understand this way. You have understood nothing or you have understood everything. I don't know what's the state. If you have any questions, please come forward.
Okay. So there is one question from Vedavati ji. How is samskara practiced? How that originated? Probably, that was if I can rephrase, how the samskaras were originated.
Originated?
Yes.
How the samskaras were originated? Right. Once I got my originations, the samskaras also originated. Because it was my aspiration to express myself with a physical body. Because as a spirit, I was in the universal spirit. Once I got separated from the universal spirit or the universal soul, Paramatma, when I became a Jivatma, the separate entity, the origination of the samskara has begun. Because once the desire has occurred in me, I always try to achieve that, to get that. The samskara originated then. Then it's very easy. It is the reversal action now. In yogic terminology, it is called the pratiprasava, going back, returning myself to the state where I have begun my journey. Such a process is called the pratiprasava, going back, going towards my original state. So when I started this journey, the samskara also has begun. And I did not go back, I started going forward, going towards this mundane. It's not going forward, it is going towards the mundane. So when my journey towards the mundane is continuing, so the accumulation of samskara is also continuing. That's all.
Thank you, Nagaraj ji. I think it's been an incredible session. I can draw an analogy. I come from the technology field, and we talk about tables, database, enterprise data warehouse, and then you have a data lake. So as you start discussing about buddhi, ahankara, chitta, antakarana, I'm able to draw parallel to the technology world. Maybe the technology or modern sciences is all drawing inspirations from our timeless wisdom of yoga. And I think we are pretty much coming closer to this session. I mean, I have taken a lot of notes. Yeah,
Mr. Praveen, there are a few questions.
Yes.
And please be open. If you want to speak in Kannada, I am glad. Prakash. I can speak also in Kannada.
Right.
There's one question from Mr. Prakash.
ಯಾರಿಗಾದರೂ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಂತಿದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು.
Okay. So there is one question from Dr. Jayanti. Can we consider thoughts as content of mind?
Please speak clearly. Sorry. Because it is merging. Your voice is merging. Okay. What's the question?
Can we consider thoughts as contents of mind? Is it a part of mind? Thoughts. Is thought considered to be a part of mind? Is the question, Guruji.
It is the feature of the mind to produce thoughts. It is the very feature of the mind to produce thoughts. It will never stop producing thoughts. If you say mind, it is always producing thoughts. It could be out of your sense perception, or it could be out of your own thoughts, already in you. Sense perception is one of the reasons to produce thoughts. But even if there is no sense perception, then also there is origination of the thoughts. You are not using your eyes, you are not using your ears, you are not using your nose, you are not using your tongue and so on. Yet there is a possibility of the rise of the thought wave in you. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, thank you, Guruji. So there is one last question. I think we can take this from Dr. Prakash. He asks, what was the knowledge before Patanjali Yoga Sutra? Kindly let us know. What was there before the origination?
Patanjali Yoga Sutra is in a codified form. It doesn't mean before Patanjali there was nothing about yoga. There was lot about yoga. For example, always the yoga directions depended upon two things called the Abhyasa and the Vairagya. Patanjali says Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam Tan Nirodha. Through the practices and through the detachment, we can practice yoga. Krishna says Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihhyate. These are the two elemental directions from Bhagavad Gita, from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and so on. Before Patanjali also, there existed so much about yoga. But at the time of Patanjali, there was a lot of confusion in the society. To make it clear, he gave us some directional knowledge. The sutras are concrete sentences. But at that time, the sociological status was so, people were in a confusion because something called Hatha Yoga, something called Laya Yoga, something called Shiva Yoga, and so many other terminologies existed. So all that, because Patanjali's yoga is called Raja Yoga. It is kingly yoga because he has encompassed all other types of yoga in this. There is practice of Hatha Yoga in this. There is practice of Gnana Yoga in this. There is practice of Bhakti Yoga in this. So everything is there in Patanjali Yoga. That's why it's in a codified concrete sentence form called the Sutra. It's not in a poetic order. It is in a sentence order, directions order. So it's called the Sutra. For example, Bhagavad Gita is in a poetic order. There's a meter for the literature in Bhagavad Gita. There's a meter for the literature in the Yoga Vasishtha, or for the Ramayana or the Mahabharata, and so on. But for Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it is only a clear sentence. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha Tada Drashtaho Swaropeva Sthanam Vritti Saropyam Itaratra. A single sentence with a definite meaning. That's why it's called Sutra. Just like Brahma Sutra and so on. There are so many other sutras. It's all about the Yoga Sutra to describe us about the knowledge of yoga. That's why it's called Sutra. Okay. Anyway, before Patanjali also, there was an extensive knowledge of yoga in our society. Everyone in Bharat was a yogi at that time. Even now also, I am not discouraged. I am not disappointed. There are so many yogis living. Because you are all attending here, there is some element of knowledge in you, is sparkling in you to get the knowledge. All that sparkling souls are nothing but yogis. If you have not done something about the yoga, you would have not come here. Some element is working in all of us to gain and acquire the knowledge of that philosophical thought. In that way, we are all blessed. Okay, any other question, please?
I think Nagaraji, we are on top of the hour. I'm sure, we'll have more questions, more insights in the next 2 days. And I've made a lot of notes myself. My favorite one is start practicing and then later you can question. So Dr. Nagaraji, I want to once again thank you for giving us a wonderful insight into Patanjali Sutra. I also want to thank all the participants for being patient listeners and at the same time absorbing all the wisdom. Tomorrow we will once again reconvene at the same time, 5 a.m. in the morning, same Zoom link. Thank you, Dr. Yogi Devraji, for your support. Thanks to Vishwanath Guruji. Thanks to the Spiritual Solutions Center, Rotary, Bangalore Global Yoga, Yoga University of Americas. And, friends, the list to pay gratitude is large, which is why we should now be doing this Shanti mantra from a closure perspective. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinamaditamastu Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you once again. Have a great, blissful, yogic Monday morning. See you tomorrow. Thanks again.
Thank you. Namaste.